Welcome back to another episode of In My Xperience on the JPEG podcast. I'm your host, Jean-PaulGedeon, and today I have a very special guest, Rob Mora. Rob, what's up, my man? How you doing?
Jean-Paul, aloha.
All right. Hey, Rob, for those who don't know you, and I know pretty much everybody knows you, can you give us a little introduction to who is Rob?
Yeah, Rob Mora, born and raised in California. I found myself in Hawaii, came to the University of Hawaii, as many of us have, and I came over to play golf. I was a collegiate golfer, and Hawaii had a D1 school, but they also had the worst golf team in D1. So I was like, I can make the team. That's what initially brought me out. I ended up not playing and just enjoying everything that was Hawaii at the time. And, fast forward, built my career out here, spent over 10 years. And then I moved to the Southwest, continued on with my career. And then my career brought me back to Hawaii. I met my wife in Arizona, brought her back, talked her into coming to Hawaii. And, the rest is history. I've been here. We bought a house last year and, we're here for the foreseeable future.
Congrats. Hey, the first time I heard of you, and I was kind of just amazed, maybe I was just out of the loop or something, but you quickly jumped in and it was like in the circles to be in, like the coolest spots. So I met you with Redbull, I think. Were you with Redbull here, or did I meet you with Uber in Hawaii?
I think it was Redbull here. Yeah, that's when I think first crossed paths. So I had started with Redbull, similarly to your buddy Dan, who I saw his podcast, which was awesome, as a student brand manager and driving around the Mini Cooper. And this was, circa 2002-ish.
Wow.
I saw the ad in a newspaper and I was like, I want to work for Redbull. This company's awesome. And I think it was Kaleo. It was actually an ad in Kaleo. And I ended up just working for them in college. After that, I had worked for some other companies, but I started my first company based on a business need that they had. And I ended up taking a full-time position with them and I was with them for almost 8 years total, here in Hawaii. And then also in the mainland, I was covering Vegas, Arizona, New Mexico, that whole Southwest side of the country right there.
You gave us, with our sales and marketing executives, SME Hawaii, you gave one of the dopest presentations that no one slept through. And we got older members there at the Pacific Club. No one slept through it. Like, you gave like the Redbull kind of story and how they're a media company. What did you learn from working at Redbull? Because after that, you made a couple pretty significant leaps.
Yeah, I definitely credit Redbull to building my foundation in marketing and really overall sales and operations. They're the best at what they do. They're still the best at what they do. And I always look back and, no offense to the other companies I've worked for, but I always refer back to Redbull as like, this is the gold standard. I worked in the field. I was really tasked with building the brand, managing marketing teams, and making it exciting. And through that, I got to do a lot of crazy things. Every project we worked on was something that had never been done before. And it was really figuring it out from my college job with them to my management job with them. And it was always something where it had never been done before. You had to figure it out. There was support, but at the same time, it was most of the time your crazy idea that they approved. And you just had to figure it out, whether it was with permitting, whether it was talking to the right people and getting into the right circles and building credibility over time to do something crazy. And it really gave me the skill set that was just like, well, that entrepreneurial vibe where, we were the local face. I was the local face of this global brand, and we had to figure it out, and we had to be credible, and it had to be exciting. It had to be over the top and the best. So I think from that side of the brand that really just honed in on whatever it was we were doing, it had to be the best. That set a great foundation for me into everything I really did from there on out, and even in between. So it's still to this day, I look back and like, wow, like I if they asked me to come back, I would.
You never know, man.
Yeah.
So I remember I was thinking like Red Bull, just cute girls, handsome guys driving around, giving away Red Bull at concerts, college campuses, and like Sandy Beach kind. But did you take it a step further? I remember in Waikiki, there was the surfing competition where you could make surfboards out of whatever, like canoes and couches. And
yeah,
did you help with that or what?
That was my buddy Travis's brainchild, Travis Watanabe, who's still with the company. He's the head of sports marketing now at Red Bull in Santa Monica. And
local boy too. Shout out.
With him for several years. He worked in our on-premise sales department, and then when I left, he took over my old job, and he just skyrocketed from there. But that was Party Wave. That was Red Bull Party Wave. My projects were a little bit before that, but he definitely had a great project there.
Hell yeah, that is crazy. So why don't we fast forward into Uber? Like Uber hit the scene when I heard of it more like when you were here, and then the free codes came out, and then you started sponsoring things in Chinatown, and I think Jason was doing some co-stuff with you guys. You're with like some Nella programs. I think that's how I even heard of Uber. He's like at one of his parties, like, hey, get this code and get a ride.
Yeah, I had got introduced to Uber while I was with Red Bull in Arizona in the Southwest, and a buddy was like, you got to use this, app. It's a car. It'll just pick you up. I'm like, isn't that a taxi?
Yeah, right? It's a taxi.
No, it's completely different. I'm like, okay. And I used it for the first time, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Where has this been my whole? Because in Red Bull, you're out, you're at bars, restaurants, sales meetings, like you're just on the go nonstop in places all day and night. And it was a godsend because you have some Red Bull vodkas, and you're not driving. So it was really cool to see that. And we had done big events. We were doing large scale events in Phoenix. We were doing large scale events in Vegas, doing big partnerships with the casino and the Speedway. And Uber was small at that time, and even in the mainland in Phoenix and in the Southwest. And I had just made friends with the team. We were cool. We hung out, and they knew my background in Hawaii, and they knew the things that I did with my companies and with Red Bull. And they had just hinted like, hey, like we're looking for a marketing manager to come to Hawaii and kind of help us, get into the local scene, build some bridges, and, make a name for ourselves out there. They had a team on the ground already. So I'd done,
oh, nice.
I was like, wow, I'd always wanted to kind of go back into tech. I'd worked for Apple, in college, and it was something that always drew me back. I was like, oh, I want to get back in the tech industry one day. This should be cool. And I was with dating my wife at the time, and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to get this job. And, they would move us back to Hawaii. Are you, interested in that at all? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to live in Hawaii. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep interviewing. And, a couple interviews later, and it was like, and I kept asking her like, hey, like this is going to happen. Like, I want to be with you. Like, I want to marry you. Like, this is a real thing if this goes through. And it was like, all of a sudden, okay, I got the job. Like, we're moving back. And she's like, wait, what? And I was like,
yeah.
But yeah, dust settled, and it was great. And I ended up moving back. They had a team established out here already, an ops team and a marketing team, or a marketing person, Tommy, who you probably know, Peruki. And I came in and, with, I think just my background was a little bit more non-traditional than what they're used to, and just applied it to different things that were happening. And, I think it was super important to like take something like an outside large brand, especially a tech brand like that. And that's changing the world. That's changed the world for the better. And, really apply it to things that were happening locally. And that was super fun because I got to, continue doing what I was doing with Red Bull with just a new partner. We did Uber Chopper. We did partnership with Sig Zane, where we actually had Sig Zane deliver these shirts with Sig and Kuhao, and a lot of other more just different things that you were just excited about. We did Pig and the Lady. We did all sorts of things like before Uber Eats existed. Fun stuff. And it was really cool to be a part of that. I was with them for a few years, and definitely, another bullet point that on my resume that really helped build the foundation to where, I ended up going.
So you always seem to be kind of plugged in with like what's going on with whether it was like the concerts with BAMP or Nella Media Group or just anything that was kind of happening. And was that a lot through like sponsorships and like you said, Sig Zane, and just a lot of, you navigated pretty fast. Let's see, like, and you're like a cool dude. So I think that people are drawn to you. I was like, hey, Rob, what's up, man?
Yeah, it's interesting because, brands like that are real lifestyle driven, and it's, you can't force those kinds of things. And it was very important to be authentic when it came down to partnerships, and, it comes through in the marketing, it comes through in the branding. And those were just things I did. I went to concerts. I loved every sport. I participated in culture. I participated in sports. I participated in all of these things. And especially in Honolulu at that time, there was no social media happening. I mean, there was, but it wasn't like it was today. I definitely credit Krista Whitmire, who we all know and love, and rest in paradise. It was her who really showed me the different side of Honolulu. We would go out and she would introduce me to all these different people. And she's the original connector, as most people will tell you. And she helped plug me into a lot of that scene, and definitely credit her for a lot of that. And between her and the network of people that were in Honolulu doing cool things, it was, I was fortunate enough to be able to have brand like Redbull, like Uber, to tie into some cool things. And that's where I brought the brand in, and started doing things with them, whether it was through product, whether it was through partnerships, whether it was through like real marketing heavy campaigns, that it was part of that brand building that we put to work. And I think this goes back to authenticity.
No doubt about that. I could tell you're authentic, and you delivered value. Like, you weren't just rolling up and like being a freeloader or like flying the wall. You were like in it. And, by the sponsorships and credibility with the Red Bull, the Uber that you brought to them as well, it's like, that was totally win-win. And it just seemed like validation for what they were doing already, and kind of like an underground, with the concerts and the clubs and the events. Then you brought this, powerhouse behind it. It was just like, dang, this is like the perfect blend of like real, authentic lifestyle, and then having a brand that's like aligned with that. You hit it on the head. I saw smoke, and then all of a sudden I saw fire, and there was a rocket ship, and Rob was flying that rocket ship.
That was a fun rocket ship. I definitely missed those times. Those are good.
What do you say? Like, you've been around a lot of people who have, in that scene before, but now a lot of people have gone on to do even greater things. So what did you see, like kind of the formula or the secret to success that you could share that you've seen and you lived through, and you've seen, your peers make it, let's say, quote unquote, make it? What are some of the kind of the guidelines or a secret sauce that you can kind of share for anyone trying to do that come up?
Yeah. The come up is, everybody wants it, but not everybody wants to work for it. And I think like a lot of us who have done things, and we don't see we don't see an end to it, or, okay, I did this, I'm done, or trying to do it. I think it comes with just putting that work in and figuring it out. And, whether it's, there's no secret sauce in my opinion. It's really putting in the work and understanding what your strategy is and understanding where you want to go. Whatever that goal may be, whether it's an ultra marathon, whether it's getting your product into a store, whether it's, getting a job, it's such a important thing to like understand. It's like, okay, I want to go here. How do I get there? How this is my North Star, and adapting to that and building a plan to get there. And I think tirelessly being disciplined and working until that goal is achieved. And I think for some, it's, you know, they don't want to put in that work. They just want that right away. They want that fame, or they want that, you know, gratification immediately. And in our day and age, you know, people are used to that, but it's so important to understand, like, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, and, you know, whether it is the connections you make and the networking, to, you know, putting all your energy into the end of the day until you're completely exhausted and making sacrifices. And I think, to me, that's, you know, that's what helped me get to where I'm at, and where I see people doing the same thing. It's like, you don't always see behind the curtain, but that's what successful people are doing at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, secret sauce, I just got hungry. What's a shout out to some of your favorite local spots to eat in Hawaii?
Oh my gosh. Helena's Hawaiian food is by far my, you know, first and last meal, if that's going down. You know, of course there's Pig and the Lady, which is, you know, default. And the chef community in Hawaii is so great. You know, as you know, we'll probably get into it, I was in the restaurant industry for a few years, and just, you know, I was always around it, and I was always involved in it, but to actually like be hands-on in it, and, you know, with everybody in the trenches, and being able to just make those connections, the chefs and the operators and the industry is so amazing. That, I mean, everybody from Gooch to, you know, Kajioka and those guys, they're doing great things, to Sheldon and Maui, and Isaac. I mean, too many to name. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know, sorry if I miss somebody, but there's so many good ones.
No worries. You can send a list. We'll put them all up in the bio. Yeah, get them all shout out. Like, we're gonna take the whole podcast, man, and be shouting everybody out.
We talk about food all day.
Right. Hey, on the road to success, or on the path to success, you got to take the stairs. Elevators out of order. Something like that. Hey, so check it out. What's something that maybe some people misunderstand about you? Do you have anything like that?
Something that, you
like,
know,
they think one thing, but it's just not that way.
Yeah. You know, I think it's a lot of people maybe don't understand kind of like how I do what I do, or got, you know, into these positions or places and things. And I always get asked that, like, how did you get like hooked up with that? You're always like, every company or everything you've done, like, you're just like right there in it. And I you know, I credit it to just like keeping your ear to the streets and connecting with people and helping, you know, build community for a greater cause. And, you know, some people do it better than others, but, you know, and depending on what path you're taking. But, you know, I think people think a lot of, you know, as we talked about, like, successful people are just get handed things. And it's, you know, I try to really strategize where I'm going and what I'm doing. Like, I knew I was going to go into real estate long before all of this happened. And it was just part of that plan, part of that path. It wasn't just like I woke up one day, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. But, you know, I think for me, it's definitely something that, you know, love to get to know people and them to understand, like, you know, me a little bit more. But I mean, I don't think there's anything that crazy that people are like, oh, I don't feel misunderstood, I guess, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, cool. I was trying to open up the gate right there for you to, like, people really think I like to eat steak a lot, but no, I'm actually vegetarian.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, Coldwell Banker, tell us about from Redbull to real estate, and bring us up to date what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I always wanted to work in real estate. I always wanted to be a realtor, and I just never had the time. I was always with a company. Things were going real well. I was making money. We were making things happen. We were moving the needle, building community, you know, whatever it was. And I just never had that time to, like, go do pre-licensing, get licensed, you know, go through the steps. And it was something that I had on my wall that was like, okay, this is something I'm going to do. And, you know, the world works in crazy ways as it's working right now. And it was kismet. I had taken my parental leave. I like maxed out my parental leave for a few months. I was, looking forward to spending time with my family and my son. And it was like, this opportunity, I'm going to have all this time to do side projects, start another company, get my license, like do all these things. And I did some of them, but not nearly as much as I wanted to, because taking care of a baby is a lot of work, as you know. And my wife was laughing at me like, yeah, okay, Rob, like sure, because she was working. Do it. So I was stay-at-home dad, and it worked out. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and as many of the businesses in Hawaii, and especially ones that rely on our travel industry and tourism, Lyft was one of those companies that ended up pulling out of the state. I was lucky enough. It was the great company. I was with them for a few years, and bless their hearts, they took care of me for the rest of the year. And it was that perfect opportunity to go get licensed and jump into real estate. And it really was a no-brainer. This was the perfect combination of being an entrepreneur, being an independent contractor, but also having that support of an organization and some of the tools. I had started a few companies and did well with them, and to have that little extra support and what you want to do, especially nowadays where things are getting so automated and things are going so fast. It's great to have that. So, I chose to hang my license with Coldwell Banker after talking with a number of agents in the state and brokers on, their experience in the industry, where they started, where they went, what would be best for me, a person coming out of years of corporate management experience and marketing and operations to, learn. So I went with, one of the brokers I know that was, he was the head of the, board of realtors. He was the guy, he's been the guy. So I wanted to go learn from him. And he's at Coldwell, and he's a VP at Coldwell and broker for us. And I was just pumped. I was like, this is the perfect opportunity. I'm psyched. Apply my marketing skill set. I'm gonna apply my operations skill set, and build my network even more, and help others in the community. When we bought a house out here last year on the west side, and it was it's tough to get piece of the rock, and we got in, and it was just like the best investment, the greatest thing that I had done to date with my money ever. And it was like, I'm so pumped, and I wanted to kind of pass that torch and pass that on and help others do the same thing. And that's kind of how I ended up here.
So what number does your real estate license start with?
8.
So what does that mean? It's like 80,000 something realtor?
Yeah. So my number is 83489, which I'll get to that in a second of why that's special too. But it's the number of like licensed realtors that ever existed in the state, I believe. So I think there's somewhere around, don't quote me on this, but I want to say like 7,000 licensed realtor licenses, real estate licenses. But I think that ones that are actually active, it's such a smaller number. I think it's only a few thousand. And then another, very small percentage of that actually do the business. So it's it's definitely a task at hand. But like any of these other things I've jumped into, I'm super excited, and I've got a goal, and we're tracking towards that goal.
So who'd you do the pre-licensing with? Did you just get the book, or you go to Abe Lee, or?
Yeah, we met Abe Lee with SME on the board, and he was part of that, and he was one of the speakers, and that's kind of where I defaulted to was our buddy Abe. So I went with Abe.
Did you have the live classes or the online?
It was online because of COVID. So,
bro, the live is so good.
Yeah, but it was funny because during the the license, like you got to do all the class, you got to do everything still just like you would in real life, and it's a lot of hours, 60 some hours, and had a goal to like get it done quickly. And so I'm watching it like nonstop because I'm taking care of my kid during the day. I was off, and it was, I'd have him on and my wife would come home and, it'd be on, or I'd be like on my runs or my walks with my kid, and Abel would be playing and, teaching class. And it was just funny. My wife's like, I can't wait to meet Abe.
Abe is he's the man.
But yeah, so Abe's the man.
For sure. So my brother, Brandon, and his wife, Hiroko, we all took the pre-licensing class too and passed. We got some real estate in Hawaii that my parents bought in Waikiki, and we were doing, like long-term rentals kind of by the beach.
Yeah.
And it's the end goal. I've always seen, like, in Hawaii, we're not making more of the rock. There's a lot of mountains that you can't buy. And there's a lot of, legacy, like family land or Kamehameha schools, Bishop Estate. And then there's the military. And then everything else is water. So we only got a little, pebbles to choose from. So that's always been like a goal for us as well, as like the brothers,
Yeah.
2004, flipped that house, was really hot.
Yeah, I definitely foresee lots of success in that for you in your future.
Like that's why I got my shirt on right here. It's the real estate episode.
I love it.
So how are you changing the game, Rob? Or how are you elevating the game? Because I know you're gonna do it. I know you probably already did it. I may just not know, but you always bring a fresh perspective. You bring your marketing skills. You bring your people skills, and we'll touch on this a second later. But you bring like a higher standard of excellence and hustle and hard work and like positivity that I've noticed from afar. What are you going to be doing different or elevating the game for real estate, buyers and sellers? How are we going to look forward to? What are we going to look forward to seeing?
Yeah, I think for me, it just like anything I've ever done, it's really about the people. It's really about that community, and it's really about authenticity and what we're doing. And if we're buying a house, if we're listing a house, just interested to learn about real estate in general, it's so important to like go through that process and understand it. It's the biggest financial decision anybody's ever going to make, most people. And, going through that process and, being that trusted advisor is really something that, I pride myself on, and I'm looking forward to helping others. As far as, changing the game, there's so many opportunities as, being a realtor, and you can do your own thing and, build your own brand. So that's what I'm looking forward to is building the Rob Mora brand. I've never done that, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to. And, from like a lifestyle perspective, from a health perspective, from building wealth. And that's just going to be the next evolution for me, and building that in Hawaii and helping others do that. So I'm super pumped to really take that and, help others.
So Coldwell Banker, what is under that? Are there like different teams? Are they like different brokerages that attach themselves to Coldwell? How do those work, and which one are you with?
Yeah, so there's several offices on the island of Oahu, and throughout the state. So Coldwell's under a larger umbrella of companies, which include Sotheby's, includes Century 21, includes Better Homes, called Realogy. And then so Coldwell sits underneath that, and then but between that, like across the islands, there's a company that manages all of the operations on Outer Island, and then here on Oahu, Coldwell Banker Realty, Hawaii, which has different offices, and everybody's an independent contractor who's with the organization, and we hang our licenses with them. My actual license hangs in Kapolei. So I'm technically part of that office. And it's really just, depending on where you're at. If you're a new agent, you're either gravitating towards Kapolei or Kailua. A lot of the more experienced agents, the super high-end luxury are usually attached to the town office. There's a lot of great people doing great things. And what's great is everybody's, it's everybody's own business. So I think that's what's, separates themselves. And you're still an independent contractor, you're self-employed, and you have to have a broker to do business as a realtor associate. That's where they're attached to, his offices.
So our buddy Dan Richards, he's with Coldwell, does marketing on the Big Island. Did you know that?
I did. I spent a lot of time talking to Dan about my decision, actually. So
wow. Okay.
So when I was at Redbull, he was a student brand manager at the University of Hawaii, and that's where we had first met and became friends from there. And you know, I've been out of the marketing game for a little bit and such on a heavy operational management level in the past few years that I was like, I need this expertise. I need this, this guy's been in the real estate industry for a few years now, and he's been with, two of the top companies now and here in Hawaii. And I just spent some time talking with him on the phone a few times, and, he really helped steer me to wherever I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. He's really done a good job of becoming a great marketer. And a lot of these, a lot of folks I talk to, and you just know who's good and who's not in terms of marketing. And he's good. He's definitely one of the good ones. But I feel privileged to be able to, have him as a resource during my transition. And it was exciting, but he's a badass.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dan Richards, badass. I would tell Alex put up the word badass for Dan, maybe a picture of him right
Shout
here.
out Dan.
Shout out Dan. So is he was that Coldwell office? Because he said he built his own kind of in-house team of designers to help with. Is he going to be like your back-end support for the marketing side? Is that how it works or not?
So the way that it's kind of set up here in Hawaii is he oversees all the outer island. So all the outer islands. So Oahu has its own marketing team.
Okay.
Essentially, he'll do that same thing that they do here.
Wow. That's good. So, a lot of realtors I've noticed, I see, so many people I'm born and raised here. And I see a lot of people, my parents' friends, successful real estate people. Oh my goodness. Like that's the business to be in Hawaii. And then I seen a bunch of people who were club promoters and, digital marketers. I'm gonna throw quotes for digital marketers right there. Club promoters became digital marketers, and then they became like crypto, and Forex traders, and then they're in real estate. So there's a lot of people that don't make money in real estate, but for the few, the people who are in the game and, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, they're in the game. I know you're going to build a name and in the game out here. What's kind of a goal that you've set? Because I know you set goals. I've followed your marathon running, but let's see what kind of goals you set for the real estate. And then let's kind of talk about the whole fitness lifestyle that you are on.
Yeah. I typically don't share my goals until I finish them. But what I will say is I don't like to talk a lot and like hype myself up over these types of things. It happens too much nowadays where people say stuff and they don't do them. And I just never gravitated towards that way of doing things. But it's, for me, it's really doing the absolute possible best that I can do within the industry and help guide that. I will say I want to be a broker and eventually have my own realty organization. So that's the long-term goal, and have a team of realtors and have my own operation. But to do that, I got to put in the work. There's a long road to that goal. And it starts here and starts being a realtor and being in the industry and, building, doing transactions. It's no easy task. And I always feel like I gravitate towards things that are extremely hard to do. And, so that when I come out of it, I'm as good as I can be or have the advantage. And, that's where I'm at now. It's exciting, it's scary, but it's also real exciting.
So this is a perfect transition into your fitness. Absolutely. Like, I don't know how you do this. Can you kind of touch on, your fitness journey right now that you're on and how important of a role that plays in, a successful business and professional and personal life?
Yeah, it's everything. I started really getting serious about it. Maybe 4 years ago. I've always been a bigger guy. I would always, I've been active. I would always, try to eat right when I can. I love eating different food. And for me, it was like, I found an opportunity to, really set goals. I got super into Navy SEAL books and mindset training and different athletes and different successful people, and kind of came back to, it was all physical and mental, whether it was being successful in business, whether it was being, a successful Navy SEAL, whether, whatever it was, these real goal setters and goal achievers. And that's where I'd started out like, okay, I'm going to run a half marathon. And it was, it was rough. I was doing CrossFit. I went to go get my level 1. Like I was more in the gym lifting weights, and I was, at a point where I was like, okay, like I kind of did this. I need something more. I need something bigger to do, or something else to strive for. And that's kind of ways I've always been, kind of a way I've always been, was like, okay, once I achieve something, then I'm like, okay, how much bigger can I go, or where else can I go? And I ended up, knocking out the half. And I thought that before I had done it, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I can't wait for this to be over, kind of thing. And there's a lot of training to get to that point. And I finished it, and I was like, I got a lot left in the tank. There's more. So I think it was that day or that next day, I'd signed up for the marathon, for the Honolulu Marathon. And that was the next big goal. And at that point, I had reached out to a friend, and he's a run coach, Michael Garrison, Dr. Michael Garrison of Hawaii Running Lab. And I was like, okay, the goal is to run a marathon. I need you to help me prepare for that and guide my way. And he was a running coach, and he's got a great business and works with a lot of the top runners in Hawaii. Set that up. And as soon as I got to that point, it was like, that training was probably part of the toughest things I had ever done, physically and mentally, was get to the point of running a marathon, running 26.2. And, it was a lot of early mornings through Waikiki, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., doing 15, 18, 20 miles for trainings, and, alone, and just knocking them out. And like, that's where I really felt like I honed in on my mind and honed in on the discipline that it takes to achieve certain things. And it was something that's like, there's no way I'm not going to make this happen. And getting to that point, knocked out the first marathon, and it was like, lift off from there. I've got 7 under my belt now, numerous halves, numerous other, smaller ones. During COVID, I ran a ultra marathon, which is, it was a 50K. So anything over a marathon's considered an ultra, from a 50K distance, 50 mile, 100 mile, et cetera. Luckily the team at, the Hawaii Running Project was hosting this like COVID safe run. It was a 3.5 mile loop in Hawaii Kai. And I was like, yup, that's going down. So I knocked out 31 point some miles for a 50K, achieved that. And, it's, still looking forward to races, getting back on and getting into more trail running. But that's, that really has been such a huge part of my mind, personal life, and getting my health in check over the past few years. I stopped drinking over 3 years ago. I started running marathons. I started doing these different things. And it was like, that was all part of that goal setting. It wasn't just physical or mental. It was like, okay, I want to achieve this. I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great husband. I want this job, or I want to do this. And this is all part of that. It was, to achieve these goals, I need to stop drinking. I need to get my head in the game and focus. I can't be like hungover and go run. And that was part of it, getting all that in check. And it's significantly improved, I think, my overall health, my home life. I love it. And it's been such a blessing. And I think anybody who has made that a part of your life will tell you the same thing. And being that mentally strong and physically strong. And it's like, you can endure everything. I always refer back to when we were having my son Zion in the hospital, and we were one of those couples that ended up being a week in the hospital. They wouldn't let us go, and
wow.
there's no beds in there for the husbands, and mother-in-law had come in. So I'd slept on a hospital floor for almost a week. And I don't know if you ever slept on a floor that long. Those hospital floors aren't that clean and comfortable,
No.
but it was one of those moments where it was like, I'm mentally prepared for this. Like I'm ready. Like, and my kid's coming. My wife's 9 months pregnant. She's ready to go. Like my mental game was there. And it was like, well, guess I'm sleeping on the floor for the next couple of days. And I think some people would be like, I'm going home, or like, I think some people just wouldn't, necessarily be able to handle it. And it was kind of one of those things where I was like, these are the types of things that I prepare my mind for. These are the, whatever life throws at you, whether it's, sleeping on a hospital floor for a week, or, a tough thing, with the job and COVID hits, or if it's just life that happens, and it's like mentally preparing.
Wow. I think that summed it up pretty nicely. So how come you never had a bed? They didn't give you one of those like 1970s workhorse recliners or what?
Well, they did. I had it for one night, the first night that we were there, actually. But I don't know if you've ever seen those things in real life or sat on them.
Maybe, I've slept on them, bro, for like a couple of nights, kind of. The worst. I'm 5'11", 240. This thing is not holding me. And then my mother-in-law had come, and so she's getting the nice comfortable chair. Okay. So I had to clear that up.
How I ended up on the floor was the rest of the week.
Very chivalrous. You're quite the gentleman, Rob.
Gotta be.
Hey, so, okay. Realtors in Hawaii, or realtors in general. I kind of was touching on it before. Club promoters, crypto guys, not really the most professional dudes get into the business because they're going to follow the money, follow the cash. You're probably, a lot of realtors have never actually bought their own home. Just like, 20-year-old life coaches, right? I tell you how to live life. Like so you actually went through the process. You know how it is. You put your money where your mouth is, and you stepped up. So you like really understand what a family might be going through, young family like yourself.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things where people, I think, see shows on TV, HGTV, Netflix, whatever. And they see the money, and they see the luxury, and they see the people who are doing really well. And I think what they don't see is, the people who are, either, they're selling the $200,000, $300,000 houses, which is low in Hawaii. And they're missing that kind of behind the curtain hustle. And I think that's why a lot of people get into it. Because if you went to school, like, you can pass the test, you can, get through the licensing and get licensed by the state. And the barrier to entry isn't the most difficult. And when it comes to that, I think that's where you see a lot of these people. I can't speak to anybody's experience, everybody has their own journey, but I think that's why a lot of people don't last that long in the industry. And I think it's, from what I've seen, and granted, I'm still new to the industry, I think it's very, interesting to see like who's done well and who hasn't, and who's been there. And like, I found out just over the past few months, like a lot of people I know have their real estate license, and they just either didn't do anything with it. They tried it out, didn't work. And you can keep it active and you just pay the fee. So I think it's just a matter of, if you're making this all in, if you're going all in. And I do feel like, unless you have like those real serious connections, and you can do it part-time or do whenever it comes up. But I think for people that, are in that industry and really successful at it, this is their career. This is their full-time gig. And it's all around. I think I always refer to, being back at Redbull, where it's like I was on 24/7 all the time, because it was like, if you weren't marketing, the brand, you were trying to sell it into a store or a restaurant, or, you're trying to meet somebody that was an opportunity to connect with a cool scene or something that, wanted to be a part of. And I look at that as, it's real estate in a way that you're able to connect all the dots, whether it's just making a good connection, helping somebody who's just interested to learn how the loan process works, or, what kind of steps there are. And that was me. I just didn't know a few years ago what that took. And I regret not buying a house earlier. And I went through that process. I reached out to a buddy who's a realtor at Coldwell, Matty Lou, and I just was talking with him casually. And, I had interviewed a couple other realtors, and, that's how it goes. And I learned a lot, and spending a lot of time talking with the loan officers and understanding that process. And, the market now is going bananas. It's a lot of opportunity, but, a couple of years ago, things change, the market changes, but it was real interesting going through that process, understanding it. And at first, if it's your first time home buying, it's a scary thing. It's like all your money or most of your money, and you're going through the process, and you're just like, oh man. And, it's not like it is today where you're having to put in 8 offers, 10 offers and not getting a house. We were fortunate enough to find a really nice area and Eva, and got our offer, accepted, and we got the place that we wanted, which has been a blessing. And we were guided by a great real estate agent, by a great realtor, the great team at Coldwell. And that's, something that I was like, that had a lot to do with my decision to go to Coldwell. So.
Wow. So you said the market's going bananas. What do you mean? Like a lot of places selling, it's very hot. Is it because the interest rates are so low? What are the rates?
Yeah, it's a combination of all the above. You have these really low interest rates, the lowest they've ever been in our lifetime. So a lot of people are trying to buy, and it's super, attractive at this time. On the other end of the spectrum, you have people who are trying to sell because the market's so hot and people are buying. But, with that comes lower inventory, with that comes, you're not necessarily being able to get the right house. You got to work with the realtor to strategize and, put in that right price or list your house at the right price. And that's where I think the value comes, and the value added comes from working with the realtor and, being able to understand what's happening and how often that's happening, because you're seeing right now, something that hasn't happened really in a long time. And it's real exciting, and it's what a great time to be alive and be involved in it. And I'm excited to just be a part of that and help others.
All right. Got a couple hot takes for you right now. I'm going to say a word or a name, and then tell me a little bit about it real quick. Redfin. In real estate, how are they? They're 1%. What the heck are they doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think from what you're seeing now is I have a lot of friends who are involved in these more tech focused types of real estate organizations, and they're trying to disrupt. And I think it's great for the industry, all of, the opportunities that present themselves. And it's, different strokes for different folks. Some people like, kind of the flat commissions, or, whatever the program that other, brokerages offer. I think it's important to understand and meet and understand what you want, and depending on how much you know about it, and how you're able to build yourself. But, I think that's where the opportunity comes to work with a good realtor.
So aside from just like those guys who are like, we're the flat rate 1%, whatever level of service you get from them. So like Coldwell, you guys are more hands-on, really like concierge type service, white glove kind of stuff is.
Yeah, it really depends on, the clients you're working with. I think for each realtor has a different style. I've had the opportunity to, do a couple open houses with some realtors. I've shadowed a couple folks, and, I've done my own, research with them, and everybody's different. It's every realtor, it's a different business. But with Coldwell, under that umbrella, you're getting the best when it comes to service. You're getting the best training, the best trained realtors out there. And, granted, nothing against any of the other organizations. They're all, great to each their own. And I think it's important to understand that, and why it's important to interview several realtors, unless you're super comfortable with one that and has a great track record. But I think it's one of those things where each realtor is their own business. So everybody's going to be different. And as far as, what I'm offering, you're going to have that quality, and you're going to have that, undivided attention and authenticity, and help you get to your goal.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's another one. Are you also going to be an investor, real estate investor yourself? Like you're going to buy your own as well, like apartments or multifamily? How are you looking at your career?
Long term, yeah, absolutely. I think for, we're in our home right now, that we bought our first home. Long term, yeah, that was a big part of it, was to, really get in and understand what that takes, what that looks like, how to, take that next step for our next location, whether it's investment property in Waikiki, and, hopefully things start picking up, or if it's somewhere else in the country, where we've got a lot of deep roots in Arizona and the Southwest. So, and in California, and, I think it's just looking at that. But for me, goal wise, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Another disruptor to the industry, Airbnb. Ooh, Airbnb on all the islands. So what do you think about Airbnb? Are you going to get some and, be in the legal, short-term rental area? Because I love it personally. I think it's awesome.
I've used Airbnb several times. I know people from that organization. They're a tech company in San Francisco, and we share a lot of the same mindset. And I think from a Hawaii perspective, they have zoning situations, they have permit situations now, right? So it's you could be across a street in Kahio and not have a short-term rental zone. And it's one of those things where you got to understand and strategize and be very educated on like what that looks like and what the opportunity is, what that rental income could be and what that looks like and what that building's doing and the restrictions and all of that. So we haven't made that decision yet, but it's definitely on the radar. Definitely looking into it.
Yeah, I know personally, like you said, right across the street on Kuhio, like that's real deal. But I saw maybe 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, because 2020 kind of like came and almost gone. Like that's a year. But I won't mention the buildings because I don't want to make it too hot, because it already is way too hot. I saw studios going for like 80 grand, 79,000, right? 80 grand, and fee simple, not leasehold. And the last time I checked, because I was running 3 units myself, it went up to 120 and then 180 and then it was like 200. I'm like, damn, that is the same property. Like I clicked save in Zillow and Hawaii Life. You can save properties. Like I like this one. Yeah. I went back. I'm like, dang, it like was sold once and it's like, it just shot up. I mean, there's so much value to be taken out from what, 1,200 to 1,800 for a 1-bedroom rental. You can get 35 to 4 grand a month, like with short term.
It's an interesting time. I mean, we're seeing just places in our neighborhood, like literally across the street, going for over 100,000 more than we paid in a year and a half. And you're seeing a lot of this because it's economics, right? The demand is there for these locations and trying to get in, especially with these rates being so low. And we're seeing a lot of people and they're ready to retire. This is the time to sell or, dump some of my investment properties and cash out or whatever the, situation may be. But, it is still, it's an exciting time, and that stuff really, it's fun to think about and, fun to think about the opportunity.
Yeah. Like blue ocean. And then there's like straight Wild West. Like these tech companies rolling up is straight Wild West for so long. And it's just like a land grab or a cash grab or gold, however you want to say it, gold rush. Yeah. And then regulation come in. But then there's something else happening and something else happening. So you're being able to spot trends because you got your ear to the ground. That's how you found your opportunities. You're aware it's why you're keeping your life all very healthy. And you don't need to say like what you see out here, but do you see different opportunities that maybe people haven't tapped into enough in real estate, from what you're doing now that you're coming into the game? You see opportunities where people haven't tapped as much, and you bring your unique skill set that you feel you'll just be on top and successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to spot those things, and to a lot of people it comes with numbers. A lot of people it comes with experience. I think for probably me, the understanding the to get in at a great price and a great opportunity and a great time. If you're looking at your first time home, if you're looking at an investment property, if it's one of those things, it could be young 20s and you're looking at getting a studio or 1 bedroom in Waikiki, like now's the time to do it, and you can get in for like under 250, and there's still great places, and I think it's just keeping your eye down there, and there's still a lot of opportunity to get in. And I think that's probably one of my biggest regrets, was not getting in earlier and building equity and building that wealth, because it's such an important thing to understand. And I failed as I was younger to understand that and do my research. And you get a little older, you get a little wiser, but it's one of those things to people don't think that they can do that so young, and it's one of those pieces of education that we can help with. So that's probably.
Rob, how old are you right now?
I turned 37 in September.
What?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a young or a old wow?
I thought you were older. I think you just carry yourself more, I don't know, like more professional and mature, but like you're fun and like, all that good stuff. But you always seemed like
older. You gotta keep your ear to the streets, stay young, stay healthy. Oh yeah. All the above.
I'm 38. I didn't know we were so close. I thought
you look like you're 25.
Right, bro? When I shave, I just like sneak on college campus or like high school to get the free lunch.
Yeah,
like, I'm cutting that part out. I don't go to high school and colleges, but yeah, it's something in the water, man. Hawaii, or is the milk? It's the milk when we were younger.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob. One last thing. Are you going to be having Rob Mora real estate agent handles on your social media, or is it all going to be Rob Mora or Boo Boo?
Yeah, it's going to be Rob Mora for sure. I'm building that brand. That's going to be the go-to, eventually down the road, when I achieve my goal of becoming a broker. I think, if I start my own thing sooner than later, think the name will change a little bit, but for me right now, it's Rob Mora. I'm a realtor associate at Coldwell Banker.
Did you get robmora.com?
I actually have a broker working on that right now. I thought I bought it a long time ago, and I went to look at to pull it up because I just never had a use for it until recently. And so hopefully that other Rob Mora will sell it to me. But yeah, I got the Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitter. That was stuff I ended up grabbing in college. Some of that stuff. But
are you on TikTok?
I haven't made it. My dance skills are rough. I haven't made it that far.
Oh, you don't even need to dance, dude. Just go on TikTok now. I'm not even dancing. I'm putting pictures of horses, and it's like 250 views in like a second. It's crazy. I was like, oh, the Chinese are spying on me. Like, I don't want to do anything what the news is saying.
Okay.
And I know.
Today.
Dude, I think you'll kill it. I'm a disciple of Gary Vee, right? Gary Vee.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's the guy. And he keeps on saying it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to jump on that. Are you on LinkedIn? How's your LinkedIn strategy?
LinkedIn's good. I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. It's always good to refresh in there. It's an interesting one too. You got so many connections on there, and it's filtering through the right ones. I think it's been good for connecting for certain purposes, and but I'm more of an Instagram guy. Like that's kind of my default. But and I like to share different things on different platforms. I think that's important to not share the same thing across all your channels. Right now it's mostly going to be my son, probably running, my wife, real estate, golf, food. That's what you can look forward to at Rob Mora.
Okay. Is it at Rob Mora? Cause I want everyone to know how to get a hold of you here.
Yeah. At Rob Mora, Instagram.
How do you spell it? ROBMORA at
Correct.
Rob Mora?
At Rob Mora. Correct.
All right. I got a name for you right here. Mora Properties or Mora Homes.
I might use that one day.
I can see it, Mora, because we offer Mora. I don't know. Anyway, Rob, you're the man. I don't want to take any more of your time. I know we went a little over what we usually do here, but we'll chop it up. Hopefully we meet in person, have some Helena's food.
Yeah, let's go. You know, now
Rock
that
our Aloha
the back
shirts.
open, we got to.
Roll
Yeah.
up.
Oh yeah. You've been to Helena's, right?
I have, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. I'll say
I
we
used
need
to
to
buy
go
my
to-
shorts next door.
Oh yeah. I remember
You know
that.
those plaid shorts?
Oh yeah, definitely. Those
Like
are the best
14
parking
bucks.
spaces over there in front of that store.
Hey, so what is the ideal customer for you? Like, if there's gonna be a referral, you know, people see this and like, wow, I really like Rob, or I didn't know Rob's into this. What is the best person that, you know, we could refer to you so you can get some business? Because I want to share this out to everyone who watches in my circle, and then of course the network effect. Who is the best people you can help? Who are you looking to help here, and where do you think you'll bring the most value?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll take all referrals, but I think for the opportunities to help first-time home buyers, because that's something that, you know, I went through and it was a scary thing, and to be able to help shepherd clients through that process is that's what I'm looking most forward to.
Cool. Anything else you want to share right now? Your favorite food, or where to get the best deal on anything?
No, you know, thanks for having me, and you know, really proud of what you guys are doing. It's really cool to watch, and you know, I know there's collab coming with you guys soon too, and you know, looking forward to doing some fun stuff.
Guaranteed. I got some ideas for you, but I don't want to put it on this video.
Awesome.
All right,
man.
Rob, it's been real. I got your headshot. It's gonna look dope.
Cool.
Community builder. Rob Mora, the community builder.
All right. Thanks, Jean-Paul.
Hey, man.
Aloha.
Have a good one.